Hey, good evening, everyone. Paul McMann here with Forex Smart Trade. So glad you could be with us this Monday evening, April 25th, 2022, here at Forex Smart Trade. Our mission is to help you become the best version of yourself. And we do that by teaching you how to currency trade using our super accurate proprietary trading indicators. And we supplement that with what we consider to be the best in the business, one-on-one personalized training. And given the complexity of currency trading, we think that really the most efficient and effective way to master it is to work with someone one-on-one who is a successful trader. With our indicators, we have roughly a dozen different signals. And when you enter into the coaching program, our coaches will go over the various signals with you and find one that resonates, and then create a trade plan around it. Usually on the trades that I do, I focus on something called the 10-point trade, where basically we're trying to get the various lines on the chart to line up. And sometimes if I'm doing a scalp trade, I'll do something called the thick orange line trade. But tonight we have a special guest. We've got one of our coaches, Matt Parkin, who is going to give us a little insight on the trade that he likes. Before we get started, we need to listen to this guy, and then we can get going. So hold on a second while I play this guy.
Due to federal and state regulations, we are providing the following disclosure. Please stay tuned, and this will take less than a minute. Foreign exchange, futures, and cryptocurrency trading are highly risky, and you can lose all the money you invest should you decide to engage in live trading. We are not responsible for your investment, trading, or tax decisions. We are not licensed financial advisors, traders, accountants, stockbrokers, or attorneys. We are not licensed commodities brokers and do not engage in or facilitate commodities transactions. We are not an introducing broker, and we make no recommendation as to where you should invest or what broker you should trade with. As you apply what you learn, we recommend you seek advice from licensed professionals. Any trade results that we show should not be considered typical of our students. We do not and cannot track the results or performance of our students' private trading accounts. We do not know what a typical or average student earns or loses trading. This is not a get-rich-quick program, guaranteed system, or business opportunity. We sell training and trading tools. We make no promises our training or tools will generate future income for students, and you may not make your investment back, including your investment in this training. Any redistribution or recording of this material is strictly prohibited without advance written permission.
All right. One of the great things about our program is that we do these live sessions. And when you get to be in the regular coaching program, we have a live trade in the morning at 10 a.m., which tends to be a scalp trade. We also do another live trade at 10 p.m. Eastern time, which tends to be a longer term trade. And we also have additional paid sessions at 8 p.m., plus continued training on Saturday morning and Wednesday evening. When you're in the light program, you get access to kind of a pared down schedule where tonight we are doing the live trade. We will do it again tomorrow morning at 6:30 and Thursday morning at 6:30. And then you've got the intro to coaching session at 9:30 and 10 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So these sessions do two things. One, they're teaching moments that let you watch somebody who knows what they're doing, take a trade, walk you through what they're thinking about, what they're looking at, and how they're deciding if a trade is good or not, which will help you be a better trader. And two, so that you can see the accuracy of the indicators yourself. Only difference between me, you, and Matt is Matt and I have learned how to read the indicators and have gotten pretty good at it. And you will become pretty good at it through our program. And our interests are aligned in that since you're trading company money, we don't want you to lose the money. So we're interested in seeing you do well. So with that, let us bring on Matt, and I'm going to turn the controls over to him. And I've got a few questions that I want to ask him before we get started here so that we can get to know a little bit more about him. So I am making Matt the host. Matt, thank you for joining us this evening. I am so that we can get to know you a little bit better. Do you consider yourself to be a cat person or a dog person?
I am a dog person. I've had cats in the past, but this is one of my beasts on my phone there. Little mix between a healer and a border collie, and then on the side a little Chiweenie. She's a little bit smaller, and she rules the roost.
All right. What's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Some of my go-tos are going to be James Bond. I've been a fan of James Bond since way back in the 70s when I was a kid. And I also like the Harry Potter series. I know some people teasing me about that, but you know what? I like what you like, and that's some of my favorites to fall back on.
Are you following like they got a new thing like about Dumbledore or something? Like you follow like the extensions of it or just the originals?
I like the originals, and I also like the new ones as well. I haven't seen the latest one, so that one's on the radar to go see maybe this week.
Have you seen the new Bond movie? I guess the old new Bond, the last Bond movie.
Yes, I saw that one. I won't.
We won't give it away. I didn't like the ending. I don't believe they did that, but who am I?
We'll see what happens in the future.
What's your favorite swear word? No. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. What's your favorite pizza?
Homemade. I like homemade pizza, and I like smoking. No, not that kind of smoking.
Oh,
the smoking on the smoke box out back. So occasionally throwing stuff on the smoker is a great option, and I want to try doing a smoked pizza.
Huh. All right. Nice. Meat or I guess smoking. That means you're using some sort of meat, right? Versus vegetables.
Well, it'll be a pizza, so we just heat the smoker up to hot enough temperatures like you would a pizza oven, but with smoking wood in there as well, so you get that added smoky flavor. If you've never tried a smoked hamburger, well, it's just like cooking on a regular charcoal grill, but you add the smoking briquettes or smoking pellets or however your smoker operates, and now your hamburgers taste infinitely better than just grilled over an open flame. So smoke a pizza and see how it tastes. Have you ever smoked a egg?
No.
Looks like a hard-boiled egg, but it tastes a whole lot better.
I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to do that. That sounds kind of interesting.
It is.
How long have you been trading, Matt?
I have been trading with this group now for coming up on 8 years. September will be 8 years for me since I first became aware of this trade group, and started coaching a couple of months shortly past that. And then about a year and a half in, I became a trading coach. I've now been a trading coach for over 6 years.
Wow, I didn't know that you were there that long. Wow. Very.
Some of us got to be the old salty dogs.
Yeah. All right. Good. Do you have a favorite trade signal or setup?
I like all of the core indicators for most of my short-term and mid-term trading. I'll use variations of the indicators, but most of my indicator trades are going to be based on picking certain details out of the indicators. Sometimes I'll focus on the thin orange and the green major and the green pressure. Sometimes I'll use all of the major and minor. It's just a a way to allow me to see opportunities and pick from what's going on, and allow me to have really good results based on a complete or a simplified view of what's happening in the tools.
Well, and is that what you're going to show us tonight?
Absolutely.
Are there any pairs you prefer to trade?
I love trading the euro US dollar, and a lot of people look at me and say, why just the euro US dollar? It seems like everybody trades the euro US dollar. Well, that's why I like trading. It's the biggest pool of cash out there in the foreign exchange market, to the tune of 1 out of every $4 traded shows up on euro US dollar. And that can be as high as $5 trillion a day. So over $1 trillion a day potentially trading hands on one location. And that means the other 60 plus pairs are dickering over the remaining pool of cash. And 6 of those pairs capture almost 85% of the entire market. So I look at it and say, dive into the deepest, biggest pool of cash you can find. Don't go off of the high dive into the kiddie pool. It's like that deep of water. Dive where it's safe to trade and make life a little bit simpler.
All right, that makes sense. I'm a Euro USD guy also. Do you have a favorite time of day to trade?
For short-term trading, I like to trade either late at night after.
Followed by pound.
Oops, mute yourself, please, if you haven't muted yourself.
After, say, 9 or 10 p.m. local time for me. I live in the mountain time zone, and that puts me in a position where I can trade quite comfortably in the late evening hours. Frequently, I don't do a lot of trading at that time of day, but the market's becoming more active after 10 p.m. Mountain Time, so it'd be midnight Eastern. The other times of day, morning, I presently have a student. I don't do a lot of teaching this early in the morning, but 5 o'clock in the morning, great time to be trading in the live markets. Most of my live trading happens between about 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. And then I start coaching after about 9 a.m. Mountain Time. So my short-term trades typically are going to be early morning or occasionally late evening. Mid-term trades or long-term trades, I'll do them whenever they present throughout the day, if I'm in front of the computer to actually be able to see what's going on and take action around the trade.
All right, good. What's one thing you wish you knew? One thing you know now that you wish you knew when you started?
Never give up. Something that I've learned through trading and just life. I've been kicking around this rock for about a half a century. So it doesn't matter how many times you fail at something or at many somethings. The reality is it only takes being successful in one place. And when you succeed, that's where you find the greatest level of success. Be okay with failing. It's part of learning. If you can't be okay with losing, you'll never be okay with winning. So be okay with losing as quickly as you can get comfortable around it. And that'll make winning that much easier for you to achieve in whatever aspect of life you're in.
What's a frequent mistake you see new traders make?
One of the most common is traders who are afraid to lose. They don't put stop losses on trades. They figure if I don't have a stop loss, I can't lose. Not true. Or even worse than not using the stop loss, they over leverage their trade accounts, trading too big of a lot size, too many trades at the same time, and just overall having a lack of consistency in executing trade entries. If you can perfect that trade entry, we can help you tweak the entries to get better results over time.
All right. And what do you consider the key to becoming a successful trader?
Again, back to that idea, never give up. When you first start trading, you're like an infant. You're not an infant. You might have 20, 30, 40 years of experience in your career. You might even be retired. You might be just starting your career last month. It doesn't matter where you are. The reality is when you're starting something new, it doesn't matter how much you know in every other aspect of life. You're an infant with your knowledge that you have today. You're going to fall. You're going to bang your head. You're going to get bruises. Do you remember what it was like learning how to walk or talk? Did it stop you when you fell down? No. You had a drive to be able to walk and run, and nothing stopped you from accomplishing it. That's the mindset you should have around your trading experience. Be okay falling on your face. Don't give up. Stand up. Do it again. Learn from your mistakes, and you'll have a fabulous experience to talk about as you learn and grow.
All right, good. Let's. That was very helpful. Let's go ahead. I've given you host controls. If you want to pop up your screen.
All right. So first things I do when I start off in my trading experience on any given day is I'm going to open my MetaTrader where I'm going to execute trades. I'm going to start out selecting a reasonable lot size. This is not the time to be worrying about being perfect. That comes with many, many hundreds or thousands of trades. Maybe it might take several years to find some level of perfection. But be reasonable. You got to have a reasonable lot size. You've got to verify that you are receiving live market information. You can verify that by seeing market activity. Even down here in the bottom right corner, you see that graph, green over red. Once you are set up with making sure that you have a good data feed, then you also need to pick your proper currency symbol and verify that you're on the right place to execute a trade. If you're not in the right place, you're not going to have a good experience. Now today, due to time of day issues, we're going to be focusing on Euro US dollar, but due to the time of day, I'm likely going to be focusing on mid to long-term style of trade, simply because the market moves a little bit slower in the afternoon and evening hours because there's fewer markets open. Right now, there's no markets open. In about 10 minutes, we're going to see the New Zealand market kicking off, and volatility will start to pick up gradually over time. Once I've got MetaTrader up and running, I will come over here to my indicators, make sure they're open. This is my chart I use for short-term trading, 5-minute, 2-minute, 1-minute, works great. Mid-term, a little bit longer time frames, 15-minute, 1 hour, 2 hour. Then I also use the Echo Trade. I recently opened a buy position based on this Echo Trade. And the reason I did is because with those two green blocks, so that would have been right at about 4:30. I entered a buy position on this. It's not too late to get in on this. You could actively enter this trade right now. Now, because I put stop losses at a bigger distance on these, my lot size would be significantly small. So instead of a 1-lot trade, I might be doing like a 0.1 lot trade. Throw a buy in there, and then I'm going to put a stop loss. Let's see, I'm going to throw that onto a 30-minute for making things a little easier to see. My stop loss didn't come all the way down here to 500 points, or pretty close to it. And if I wanted to be right on the money, I could double click there and I bump that up one and It's not want to let me do that, so we'll just leave it at 501. So you can see I've got a risk of $50 on that trade. Now I'm going to just hurry up and walk away and don't even pay attention to this trade for the next several hours. What? Are you kidding me? You're going to walk away and not stare at these candlesticks going up and down for the next 15, 20, 30, 72 hours? Why? I got better stuff to do. I ride electric skateboards, specifically a one-wheeled electric skateboard. I've got more time in the day to ride that thing if I'm not sitting here staring at this thing. So I'd like to do my trading, get up and be done, walk away and let the trades happen the way they fall out. So in this experience, this trade, because it's going to run a while, I'm not going to worry about this particular trade. It might be bedtime before I worry about coming back and checking it. But I've got a signal to provide. I know how much I can lose, and I can be okay for that.
So off of the echo, when you get two greens, or I suppose two reds on a on there, does it matter what time frame that you're looking at?
Specifically, I look for the 15-minute and or the 30-minute for my mid to long term. If I want to focus on long to longer term, I will probably focus more on the 1 day and 1 week for timing of entries. And for this example, today, meaning after 5 p.m. East Coast time, we see two red blocks here with a -3. So that means tomorrow at 5 p.m., we may be able to enter a sell trade based on the longer time frames. But on the shorter time frame, right now, it's looking like we might get a pullback in the long direction. So I've got a trade open over there to accommodate that possibility. Now I'm going to watch and wait for one of these two to go back to a position where I have a -2. And that's going to help me know to exit that buy position. So that's what I'm focusing on with this more long-term perspective of what could happen in the next, say, 12 hours to maybe even 24 to 48 hours or more.
How did you know how did you determine how many pips to take off of that signal?
In this instance, I don't have a target for take profit. You'll notice if I pop back over to MetaTrader that my stop loss is positioned at 500 points. And because my lot size is 10 cents per point, I am risking $50. So I've got a reasonable risk. It's 1% approximately of my trade account. And I can be okay with that. You can see right now I'm negative about 15 to 20 points, and it's fluctuating around. It doesn't scare me. I've been around long enough to know the market can go against me, but the reality is, with that stop loss far enough away, there's safety to allow the market to do one of these numbers before it breaks and runs to a higher place. Now, if it breaks the wrong direction, before it ever hits my stop loss, I could potentially assess that the market's going the wrong way. You know, I might actually get a sell signal, and I might be able to close my buy trade and just open the sell trade and let that sell trade generate profit if the market breaks to the short side. So I'm okay with that. It's not a big deal to lose money while you're trading. You just have to be okay with the amount you're losing. More importantly, control the amount you're losing by trading properly.
If you were to walk away without a take profit on there, so what's your signal is going to be? What's your signal to be to exit that trade?
What I'm going to be watching for an exit is to see the 15 give me a -1. So right now we can see that the market's been pulling down a little bit over here on this 30-minute. We see that again right here on the 5-minute from this high position to its low position. The reality is it's not yet showing me a -1. Technically, I want to see a -2 actually before I close the trade.
So
Does that mean I'm going to lose sometimes? Sure. Sometimes I'll lose. The reality is I'll probably enter somewhere between 5 to 10 trades where my profits might be small, or I could experience small losses. But then somewhere in that pattern of about 1 out of 10 trades, I'll get one that just takes off and goes like a mother. And when that thing goes running like that across the charts, you can make some serious profit when you capture those runs. That is the specific reason why I don't have a take profit on this trade, because a take profit is technically saying to the broker, stop my profit at this place. If you've ever heard anybody say, stop your losers short, let your profits run, they don't do that by putting take profits on the trade, because the take profit stops your profit short. This is a advanced idea that you can learn and apply in your trading as you're learning some of the basic fundamentals of how to enter trades. There's nothing wrong with a take profit other than you're going to have a limited amount of profit, because when the market reaches that destination, if it keeps going, your profit is right here, and that's all you get. But if the market runs and you don't stop your profit prematurely, you could let those profits run and gain significantly more when the market moves. You could have entered this sell trade back over here and captured most of this movement short in today's trading if you timed your entry right and let the market go through the distance. Even if you were still in the trade right now, you're in a very profitable place by using a trade without a take profit. And when you get a signal telling you the market might go the other way, you close the trade that was going short and throw that profit in your pocket and go look for a new opportunity.
You said you used a 30-minute chart for entry with a +2, and you're using the 15, the one time period under it for the exit.
Correct.
And how did you tell people how you figured out to know to do -2? Is that just a rule?
Part of it is because of recommendations from other traders that have experienced things similar to this. But one of the things that traders fail to recognize sometimes is when the market makes a run, you can't pick that perfect entry way up at the top there. So this first portion of the run, you typically cannot capture because you don't have a signal telling you to take the trade. So this market potentially has been trying to tell me to take buy trades through this area, but I can't get in until I get the signal. So this portion, I can't capture. Once the market gets down to the bottom of the run, it starts coming back up. And somewhere in this area, you get the point where the signal says, be out of your trade. Now, we can clearly see the market afterwards has come back even shorter, but the reality is my goal is to capture the bigger portion in the middle of the run. So you gotta have the target that tells you to enter the trade, so you can't always capture the entire movement leading up to that entry. And then you have your profitable portion of the trade, and then you have your exit. If you simply put a take profit on this trade, what you will discover is you would have been profitable probably right here, and you would have got your trade and you would have walked away with nothing more. So by letting the market tell you when it's good to exit a position, you can maximize your profitability. So I'm using the indicator, the echo in this case, to show me when to enter the trade and when to exit the trade. Yes, I'm going to leave money on the table. I can't capture that portion. It's just not possible because the tools are logically telling me when to get in, when to get out. So that's my mid to long-term approaches, utilizing this echo strategy with the 30-minute or 15-minute to target my entry. You can see that 15 minute is switched back green, and we have a positive number there still that's increasing. So the probability is improving that buy trade will take off to the long side through the night. I might not look at this trade again until tomorrow morning at 6 or 7 in the morning. Maybe I'll capture the majority of the profit. Maybe I'll cut out with a small movement. The last trade I took with this particular setup, I entered a short position here. Well, it gave me my signal for entry, and then it ran down and started coming back up. I had a small profit right in this area as the market came down and then gave me the signal to get out. So this was a smaller profit. That's okay. This is one of those 7, 8, 9 trades that I'm going to take that doesn't include a big run in the market. But I was profitable. It might only be 0.5%, 1%, 2%. Depends on how big your lot size is and how far it runs, but it allows me the opportunity to potentially have some good results.
All right. So any other trades you want to share with us tonight?
One of the ones that I typically like to do with the scalping process or core indicators is going to be focused around my TNTs. And let's look at our real short-term charts. Maybe we'll be able to see a setup here in just a couple of moments and go from there. Give me just one quick second while I gotta pull something up here. Okay. The shorter term trades are a lot of fun simply because they can be opened and closed relatively fast. The benefit with running shorter term trades, especially if you are a little bit more anxious about what the market does when you enter a trade, a short-term trade might put you in a position where you can be more comfortable because you get in, you get out in just a few minutes' time. So initially what I'll do with a short-term trade is I'll try to pick a pattern of how the market is moving. Pardon me. We've been getting a lot of wind and the trees and flowers blossoming. So my allergies are really kicking me in the, well, anyway. In this case, we're seeing the market has been a little bit sideways as we've transitioned into the new trading day, but we're starting to see a little bit more vigor out of the market. So the market's been pushing up and down here a little bit more strongly. So we could take a quick look at how these most recent trades have run and see how far did the market go. In this case, it's run about 2.5 pips. So that's not a huge distance, but let's look at the indicators and see if we can find a good entry. Now, in this set of charts, what I'm going to be focusing on is my thin orange line, my green major, my green pressure. They are going to be my focal points, but I'm not going to completely ignore everything else. The goal here that I want to see is I love to see kinks. Like right here, the thin orange was pointing up, it changed to be pointing down. So that might be a viable signal. The green major is pointing down there. It looks like our pressure also turned to be pointing down. In other words, it changed direction from pointing up to pointing down, or even in this most recent candle, it went from pointing down to pointing more down. And that can be supportive of the idea of taking a sell trade. The hard part here is where I'm at right now. I want to see one of these candles showing up like this candle right here, where it opened above and crossed below. That would be an ideal entry for a sell trade. Or, so that would be my number one option. Number two, this one would be a second possible entry because it opened above one of the pressure line and it posted below. So in this case, we're starting to see a possible entry. There's a few things that I don't like about this particular trade. The optimum point to enter the trade is here. The market has run, and so I have to be concerned that there's enough room for me to be profitable. But we'll analyze it and see what the market is giving us. Our pressures are inclined downward, so that bodes very well for a sell trade this evening. Our thin orange inclined strongly downward, the major, the thin orange, the major. So if this candle, oh, it's there, I'm going to go over and I'm going to take that trade. I'm going to bump that lot size to 1.0, click the sell button. I'm going to change my time frame to a 1 minute. So this is my entry point for my sell. So I'm going to then go back up here and put that all the way to about 35 points. Now, what we're going to do with that is I'm going to pop back over to my green chart and I'm going to draw this particular tool in here so that I can kind of visualize how that shows up. So if I go up here 35 points, that'll at least put me in the ballpark. I'm going to go back to my indicator. We're going to, MetaTrader, we're going to set my take profit. Right now I'm going to set this at 18 points. So I've got roughly a 2-to-1 with the take profit versus the stop loss. So I've got a $35 risk and I've got an $18 potential profit. And we can see some of you are saying, wait a minute, that market just crossed the take profit. Why didn't the trade close? Now, you'll notice here this detail with the two lines that you're seeing, the red and yellow line that are moving horizontally across the screen. This red line represents the sell price, And the market was at that position with the red line when I entered the sell trade. The yellow line was just above that by the difference of the spread that you see up here on Euro US dollar. So for me to be profitable, both of those lines have to cross my take profit to generate a win. So that is something I'm going to focus on in this particular trade. If the market changes direction on me, only one of these lines, the yellow one, has to hit my stop loss to help me to win the trade. So, time of day, even though I'm doing what I call a short-term trading strategy, due to how slowly the market moved, you can see this relative distance, and it takes potentially the market several candles to go the distance and be able to allow us to experience a win on this. So that can be a fun experience with you as you are exploring setting up trades. How do you go about setting up your trades so that you can be comfortable while the trade runs and not have anxiety around it? I hope you hear out how much emotion I have about this trade that I've got open. Do I have excitement, anxiety? Yes, I get excited, I get anxious about my trades, but the goal is enter a good trade and don't worry about it, because your results over all of your trades are telling you the probability is you're going to win the trade.
Nope, you won that one.
What?
You won that one. It closed.
We just won that little scalp trade there. Now if we go to our account history, sure enough, there's our win. Now, it didn't give me the 18 that I was looking for. So you notice my take profit was at 1.07078, and it actually gave me a credit for the close at 1.07081. That's normal stuff in the market. We call it slippage. There's timing issues with computers executing your trade when the trigger is hit to close the trade. It's all normal stuff. But I won the trade. I'm up $15 for this time of day. That's a phenomenal trade setup. How could I increase my profit? Well, my risk on that trade was a potential stop loss with $35. So I was only risking about 1/3% for this trade account. So if I was comfortable risking more, you got to remember I've got this other trade out here running that's currently negative. So I'm down in the hole about $5 on this trade, but this trade is a much longer term trade. So I'm not too worried about it yet. It's got to go $50 against me before I'm going to worry about it. So if I was comfortable taking a bigger lot size with no other trades open, I could have increased my lot size from 1.0 on this particular trade. And to get my risk closer to 1%, I could have used a lot size of 2. Then my risk would have, instead of being $35, would have been closer to $70, which would have been about 1.4%. And I'm okay with that. It's not extreme. Is it perfect? Maybe, maybe not. But at a lot size of 2, my profit on this trade would have been closer to about $36, which would have pushed me to about 0.2% of profit. I don't need to get wealthy off of one trade. I need to get wealthy because I'm being consistent and taking good trades every single day. That's the goal with trading. Be consistent, shoot for good wins, and do it often. Not 30 to 50 to 100 times a day per se, but if you can trade consistently and generate even 0.25% per day, I mean, that's 1.25% per week. Suddenly you're 5% for the month, 60% profits for the year. Yeah, I know if your trade account's $2,000, that doesn't add up to a huge profit. But what if your trade account's $50,000? What if your trade account's $100,000? You start playing the numbers and doing the math. If you can trade consistently, you're going to grow your account. You're going to be generating profit that becomes noticeable through time and practice, not through doing it in one trade. I don't know many people who take one swipe at being successful without first falling on their face and potentially losing multiple times in the process of learning how to do it well.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Matt. We've gone a little over the time. Do you want to see if anybody has any questions before we call it a day?
I saw that somebody just commented in there. Jimmy says, sounds like sound advice. Yeah, if there's anybody else that has a question or anything, feel free to chat it in. And I'd be more than happy to answer a few questions before we part ways.
And for those who are still considering the program, why should someone choose you as a coach, or request you as a coach?
They should choose me. They should choose us, because we are motivated as a trading group and as a group of coaches. We're motivated to help our traders succeed, because if we can help you succeed, we as a community grow and become better. So me specifically, I'm going to tell you that realistically, the opportunity for you to be successful having me as your coach is present. I'm not going to be the only person you get to work with. You're working with Paul right now. You're potentially going to work with others as you're going through Trader Light and taking it for a test drive while you weigh out the possibilities and make a decision. Do you want to go forward and become a platinum member, or an executive member, or a premium member? Now, those are, of course, most expensive and going to less expensive coaching programs. But which one's right for you? And Paul can help you answer those questions. The real-world experience is all of our coaches are top-notch coaches and can help you. The ability that I have comes from 8 years of experience helping traders. I've learned how to be patient helping traders who are finding frustration with dealing with software. Software is something that, if you're not comfortable, let me tell you a little background. When I started trading, I was a welder, fabricator, and machinist. You know, if a job wasn't working right for me as a welder, I just got a bigger torch, got a bigger flame on it, heated the piece of steel until it was redder, and then I grabbed a big, massive sledgehammer and I just hit it harder. There was nothing that I couldn't move to where I wanted it to be. We would take 24-foot shafts that were 24 inches around, and I could, with a torch, bend that shaft and get it straight enough that we could then work on it and perfect it. The reality is, my experience comes from time and practice doing. And I know that I may not be the perfect coach for all of you, but I know enough to be able to help you find the answers and direct you in a way that helps you to become the best version of you as a trader. And if I'm not that perfect guy for you, that's okay. I've got a whole team of coaches that can help you. And I'm not going to take offense if you are not finding the success that you would like with me as your coach. I'm more than happy to help you on your journey and help you find the answers that you need to keep you moving in the direction that you would like to progress. So if that satisfies you as a reason why I might be a good coach for you, I'd be more than happy to work for you. The reality is, any of my coaches would be excellent choices.
All right, excellent. Matt, we appreciate you spending some time with us. Thanks so much. It's a great, you provided some great information. And until next time, my friend, again, thank you.
been a pleasure being here. Thanks for inviting me to come and visit with you and some of your traders.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye-bye.